I no longer have any idea what Epic is trying to do. I honestly thought last time I saw you guys for patch 8.2 would be the last time I said, what a terrible, terrible update, and now we have received even worse news out there. Although I will state one thing, there are definitely two sides to this latest update out there. Competitive update for Fortnite, and what Epic is doing is certainly, you can see it in some eyes, some good moves out there, especially when you start out the post itself. Some great things are being added into the game. First of which, longer queue times for the higher ranks of arena mode are being addressed, and hopefully a solution coming soon. So far, so good. First paragraph in, that is amazing. That's a great update, progress for it. Sadly enough, a lot of this post is just saying we're working on things. It's not actually things being into effect. So longer queue time should be being addressed for arena mode. Then secondly as well, we now have an in-game FPS display. So if you guys ever play League of Legends or CSGO, they're doing this because they then can actually further address where the game is actually dropping FPS. And speaking of which, very lastly, before we get into the bad stuff, the last of the good stuff is also addressing uneven frame rates and late game performance issues. As many of us know, when we get to late game, it gets very crowded, one on top of each other. It gets the game progressively, that is, performance-wise, worse and worse, and we've been having progressive server issues on top of all that. I don't think they touched on that during this post, but everything else was touched on and should be progressively getting better, and hopefully soon, because we are just 10 days away from our first World Cup qualifier for the solo event. And with that being said, less than 2 weeks away, they have also now competitively banned stretch resolution. Now, they have said for arena mode as well as in-game tournaments, I'm going to assume other tournaments as well that follow suit, IAM, and of course our skirmishes as well are probably going to follow suit as well. Yes, that does officially mean stretch res has been banned for competitive. Now, let me first start off by saying this is going to be a good move for a few of us out there. If you do not use stretch resolution, well, then you probably should like this. If I'm being honest, obviously you want your friends and opponents out there to have the option, but if you felt it to be an unfair competitive advantage, you had the chance, if you were a PC player, to also use that unfair competitive advantage. The main point I do see out there as to why they did this is to try and even the playing field across consoles as well as PC players. PC players are able to actually use this advantage to the fullest of their ability, that being stretch resolution, and so therefore they actually even it out for console players out there. I understand that completely, and I don't think people out there understand that this probably should have been done for competitive fairness, but was there a workaround? Was there some other better way than banning stretch resolution, which many PC players, many pro players do currently use, and on top of that, releasing it 10 days from one of the biggest qualifiers beginning of their entire lives. So like I said before, yes, stretch res, when it first became apparent that people were using it kind of to abuse it, I was a little pissed off, right? I don't really like watching stretch resolution, but the thing is, it's one of the few competitive advantages out there in video games that, yes, many of your opponents can also have the opportunity to use. So it was one of the competitive advantages that many people were okay with, because you could use several forms of stretch resolution. And the main overall issue now is because when they first talked about this, they said custom resolutions are coming into the game, and it started off thinking, okay, this is a great update. You read further on down, and competitive play will now be fixed to a 16:9 resolution, which is even more restrictive than it was before, and that just blows my mind why they would think this is actually a good competitive step for pro players out there. But we do need to see how it plays out, right? Leveling the field, and of course the competitive advantage, removing that for everyone is generally a good thing and looked upon as a good thing across many esports out there, but there are also many esports, CSGO included, which allow each and every player competitively as well choose their set resolution and choose, of course, their set devices as well, which Fortnite, it depends on the event, still usually does not allow. They lock your mice, they lock your keyboards, and we've had arguments about that in the past. And now on top of all of that, they want to lock your resolution absolutely completely. That is my main issue out there. I think there's still going to be a fair amount of players who actually enjoy this update, and deservingly so, but my main issue for now has been the fact that we are 10 weeks away from the World Cup. They're just about 10 to 11 weeks away from the World Cup main event, but we're also just 10 days away from the World Cup qualifiers, which many of these pro players out there, many streamers, many of you guys who are going to be trying to compete, have competed on a set resolution for yourself for many weeks, if not months, if not ever since you started playing Fortnite. And now 10 days from away, your biggest qualifier you might ever compete in, they try and change your game altogether and now fix your resolution completely, which might be a resolution that many people out there have never used or rarely use, which greatly affects competition. And we have now known Fortnite/Epic to do this several times throughout history, within days or within weeks of big events. They make these big updates, and I don't even know. If I was a competitive player, if I was a pro player, I'd be pretty pissed off nearly all the time, and I think they deserve to be so in this case. And then very lastly, I will look at the light side of this though. That is still that custom resolutions for casual play should be coming, which is a great thing going forward and hopefully going to be a great thing as well for us if it does work out. But yet again, it's a thing that's coming soon. It's a progression thing. It's not fully installed yet, so we'll see how it is. I think all in all, this competitive update, if you read through it, yes, they pretty much just updated you on things they're working on. Nothing is actually going to be in the game besides this fixed resolution for competitive play. And I'm very curious what you guys think about this, because it's a hard issue to talk about because we all have different resolutions. We've all played on different things out there, and we all cheer for pro players who use different console or PC or use different resolutions. So it's hard to argue every point here, and I think we have to wide-eyed see it as how it is overall, but it's very, very hard to touch on. Please leave a comment down below. What do you guys think about this? Don't just say revert. Don't just say take it back. I want to know what you guys think detailed as to how this update will affect the game itself. As of right now, my overall negative thought is how it affects competitive play is extremely unfair to players, and I have stressed this many, many times before with Epic, the swords, the planes, so on and so forth, the big updates and meta changes they have now released within days of competition. If I was a pro player, I'd be feeling very disrespected right now, but all in all, I'm very curious to see what the overall reaction is from players out there as you guys watching. But as always, my name is Jake. I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode of Fortnite News. I'm sure many of you guys did not. Hopefully next time I see you though, we'll get something, maybe something happier, right? Maybe Epic will do something a bit better and hopefully something non-controversial for once. Yeah, that's not going to happen.